Welcome back to our second week online in motor learning. And before we talk about this next week, let's just review a little bit about last week. First of all, let me congratulate you for making it through the first week online in all your classes. And our week went pretty well. Probably the only issues that came up dealt with the lab. And so I wanted just to touch base with you about the labs as we go forward, recognizing that traditionally we've done the labs in class. And so one of the problems that some of you ran into was getting the lab downloaded and then uploaded back to the Canvas site. So what I have done for the rest of your labs, I have made a Word document, and you should be able to use that Word document to work through the labs and then to be able to turn the lab in online through Canvas. I really do not like to get emails for assignments because they can easily get lost or sometimes even sent to the wrong person. So I would request that you do use the Canvas site for turning in all assignments. And again, I've made that change with the lab, putting it in a Word document. So if you did have problems, you should be able to do labs and turn them in online. The other problem with the juggling lab was just reading the directions and making sure that you were following through on all the things that were asked for. Probably the area that was most missed dealt with the graph. Some of you didn't even not do a graph, and then most of you did not do a graph that they asked for. They asked for a line graph for the blocks every day of your average, your mean scores. And then they asked for what was called error scores. And several of you did not do that. So let me just review what an error score would be. It's basically a visual representation, in this case, of your standard deviation. And so you would put your error score across the data point like this. All right, I just wanted to make sure you understood what error scores were as we move forward doing the rest of our labs. All right, but overall for the first week, I thought you did well. The test went well. Some of you decided to retake the test, and I allowed for that. And some of you chose not to do that, and that's fine as well. So let's get into week 2 now, our second week in our new online format. Again, I just want to make sure that you get an overview of what's due this week. By the end of the day on Tuesday, we're going to be in chapter 14, which talks about modeling and using verbal cues. And so again, the format, you have a video lecture online with a guest lecturer, and then there are questions to answer that goes along with that video lecture. Then you have your multiple choice quiz, and then the lab for this chapter deals with observational learning. And for the lab, I have tried to explain it as well as I can, but I really encourage you that if after reading through the lab and the directions of the lab, if you still are having some confusion, please shoot me an email and let me know. I'll be glad to help you. It's probably best not to wait till the last minute in case something does come up. But again, chapter 14, lecture with questions, quiz, and the lab, which is observational learning, would be due by the end of the day on Tuesday. And then by Thursday, the end of the day, we'll be in the augmented feedback chapter. And again, there'll be a lecture with questions. You'll have your multiple choice quiz. And then for this lab, is basically you're going to write down knowledge performance information. So I encourage you to look through all those requirements for this week. If you do have questions, please let me know. And I hope you have a great week.